Hello, everyone. Kenny near Basketball Rewind, and it is draft talk today, right? So, the thing that you've been waiting for some people. So, I mean, I posted the other day, and some people took umbrage and said, it's not time to talk about the draft. I'm like, I'll talk about whatever the heck I want. Uh,
I saw that.
and feel free to post whatever you want. If you really want to talk about the schedule, because I talk about both things. So yeah. Anyways, folks, we're here. We talked about a center last time. Today we're going to be talking about a point guard and getting into. This is a very very good guard draft, point guard or otherwise. Let's talk about Bennett Stirtz out of Iowa. I think he's averaging around 20 points a game. I believe I'm just pulling up the stats that I wrote down before. But yeah, he's 6'4", at least allegedly, until the actual measurements come out. I think he kind of profiles as a potentially either combo guard or primary guard initiator. In my opinion, it's probably projecting more to be a high-end bench player. But there is, I don't want to put a ceiling on any young man. He is a senior out of Iowa. He will be 23 at the start of the draft. He's averaging 20 points, 4.6 assists as of today, and he's not the best rebounder, but he's 2.5 rebounds a game. Now, the shooting splits are very interesting. You have he shoots about just a tad under 51% from the field, 39.5% from deep, and 84% from free throw, and he does get to the line quite a bit. He's quite crafty, if you will. So I'm just going to start us off and go from there. One of his superpowers that I've seen, because I do think he's a 3-level scorer, he shoots around 70% at the rim. And I think that's pretty impressive. So he's pretty strong for a guard, in my opinion, for a guard who does not necessarily have elite athleticism. One final thing, just to get all the numbers in the bag here, and then we can just kind of let the conversation go where it's going to. If you do the calculation of assist to turnover ratio, it's 2.4. So really good. That's pretty good. I mean, if you're at 5-1, you're like Jose Calderon level. So or Chris Paul. So I think he's good. He's effective at using screens, and we'll get into his scoring profile and everything in a second. Coach, take it away from me, and we'll go into it.
I like his shot making ability, and there's the NBA today obviously is so much about shot making, shot form. You gotta have good shot form too, not just making shots. He has both of that. I do like the 6'4" size, allegedly. If he was 6 foot or 6'1", we're probably not talking about him in this way, unless he had another elite skill. But his elite skill as a 6'4" guard is shooting the basketball. It's coming off catch and shoot, stationary shooting. He's good at setting when someone sets a screen for him, dribble shoot that way. Off the bounce. He reads, cuts well. Offensively, he has a lot of promise, for sure. And Beyond probably agree with me. He's not playing in 1992 anymore. The NBA is not quite as physical. So it does benefit someone like him with his skill set. To me, he reminds me, and I'm not trying to make a white guy comparison, people, but he does remind me a little bit of Peyton Pritchard. That great shot making ability, tough. He's even got like a little fade in the lane right now that I've been constantly seeing, and he seems to make it work for himself. So I see him kind of going to a team that is already established, and they're just looking for a guy who can lead a bench unit. Maybe he shocks you and he becomes a starting guard in the league. I just don't know if he has the athleticism for that, per se, but he's got shot-making ability, and I think whatever teams think about his defense will also depend on where he goes in the draft.
Um, you said, yeah, you guys have said it. You said it all. I mean, I just look at him and I see him as a guy that could be a very good um, offensive generator, I guess you want to call it that way. Someone can initiate your offense coming off the bench, probably, or at least if he's as a starter, he's probably the fifth option on the team from an offensive standpoint, maybe fourth, maybe to move him up, maybe the highest level he can get to. He's very good off a pick and roll, which is a great um, skill set to have coming into the NBA. Obviously, pick and rolls are bread and butter for a lot of different teams. He has the ability. He has a little bit of a pull up. It's kind of like almost a bit of like a poor man's Chris Paul, right? Where he kind of stops in the same spots at the elbow where you kind of fade away a little bit. He's got that a little bit. Obviously, you mentioned Kenyon, the numbers around the hoop, which is like what I like, especially for a big guard. You should have a pretty good number, but that's pretty impressive, considering. We'll get into his limitations. That is actually very impressive. But shooting at that percentage at the net, that's good too. He plays in a tough conference, so that's always got to consider the competition. And if he's playing, right now, I think they're still the number one team in the league. I think old Big Blue is still number one in the NCAA at the moment. Coach might check me on that, but I think good old U of M is still rolling. So I think he's a guy that I like his size. And, obviously, like most of these kids, I say kid, he's a grown man at 22, but they got to build up the body a little bit more. And I think he's got pretty good frame where I can see him being pretty solid size wise. When it said, I think he's only 6'4". I'm doing the old beyond the eye test. And he looks like which is scientifically proven, of course. He looks like 6'4" to me.
He does to me too. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's a solid player. If you're looking for something to fill out your rotation, I wasn't sure what to make of him first. But when I started watching some of his stuff, I've watched a little bit on TV, but watched more of his scouting reports. Actually, I must admit, I kind of liked him a little bit more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I think the thing is he doesn't seem to get too sped up, which is nice. I think that's a really good thing.
Yes.
You talked about the strength, and I'll talk about it on the other end, and then get to the problem of his strength is he's really good in the pick and roll of knowing the angles. And what I mean by that is not just how he darts around the pick and roll to either get open or with the ball even, but also how he runs the chase man into the screen. He's really good at that. Now on the other end, he's gonna figure out a way to deal with that because what is done to you is sometimes going to be done to you, or what you do to other people will be done to you on the other side. So that's where I think you compare him to a guy. Again, I'm not trying to do the whole kind of certain type of comparison, but if you look at Reed Sheppard, for example, when he was coming out, I thought Reed Sheppard was a little bit of a better navigator and defender and stuff like that. So I see him being maybe below average as a defender at an NBA level, but I think that what he gives on the offensive end and his understanding of the game is good enough that he could probably become a decent team defender. And on a team like the Raptors, who is, I know everyone's like defense, but we are top 5 in defense. There is a world where you can kind of figure it out if the rest of the profile is there. The challenge that I have is, you said it correctly, like, where do you want him on your team? Probably like a 5th option. He can run offense. He can initiate the offense. Do you really want a guy like that who needs the pick and roll to the tune of like 26-ish% usage? Do you want a high usage guy on that team? I don't know if he projects to not be a top 3 level guy from that standpoint. I'm just wondering your guys' thoughts on that.
You want to go, Coach?
Well, I'm kind of thinking about this from a Raptors perspective. Defensively, we're pretty good. Top 7, I think, still in the league. And does his skill set in his game, could that complement a team that lacks offense so badly? I actually would say yes, it does. I look at shot form. That's what I look at with anything with guards now. Can you get your shot off? We have some guys on this team, it's tough for them to get their shot off at times, even quickly. He can't get his shot off like some guards in the league. This kid looks like he actually can, which would benefit him, I could see, not just for the Raptors, but with the other teams. Ken, your question was more about usage rate, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bit about usage rate, but it's more like, do you want him to be, like, do you think that he could be good enough where he warrants having a higher usage because, I think he's shown some upside on catch and shoot numbers.
Yep.
I'm not saying I just want my guards to be off ball, but I'm just looking at the team that you have and how he fits based on the fact that even to get the team to where it probably should be, where it's truly a contending team, it's quite a number of moves that need to be made. And so how does he fit into all of that? And I do think that he has excellent timing on back cuts. I noticed that. His awareness on court is really, really impressive. And I think he's crafty enough with decent size. But yeah, I just, cause he's definitely not reliant on like the elite athleticism to like figure it out. But so, is he taking too much away from other guys?
I would put it this way. If for this particular team, the Toronto Raptors, ironically, I think he's a little bit more problematic for this team more than other teams. Only because this team doesn't run a lot of pick and roll. And he and that is like his kind of quote, his superpower, the pick and roll. We don't run pick and roll. And so therefore now he goes back to your point now, Kenyon. It's like, okay, now he's a catch and shoot guy. And he seems like he does it fairly well. But now we're back in a situation where we've had a few guys like this already that we've drafted that have used to having the ball in their hands a bit more. And now you're now trying to, revamp them, morph them into something else. And that's where this funny area comes into. Do you want to have another guy like this in the second unit like this?
Is it a bit of chicken and egg thing though? Like, is it the situation where you have, like, do we not run pick and roll because we don't have the person to operate the pick and roll? Not forget about the screen side of things, but like you don't have the guard to run pick and roll, or do we not run pick and roll for other reasons? It could be both.
So I'm going to be blunt. I don't think it's. I go the opposite way. I think it's our philosophy. We don't run pick and roll.
Okay. It could be. It could be.
With the same individual running the offense, and pick and roll doesn't seem to want to show up at no time.
Yeah. I remember Sampson talking about Barnes, Pirtle pick and rolls. Is like, that never manifested. We didn't even run Pascal pick and roll. We don't even run Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes 2-man action.
Pick the dancing partners. It doesn't matter who it is.
What do you want in a role man?
I mean, I want a whole new coach, but
ideally, what do you want in your role man? You got your guard, big man comes to the screen. What do you want from your role man?
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on the person, right? Like if you want a lob threat, we don't have that. Fair enough.
You're halfway to my point.
Right, yeah. But we do have a pick and pops option. And I remember we won with a championship with a second unit Lowry at Ibaka. That was pretty much like ham and cheese.
We also had Marcus All doing that too, but yes.
Fair enough. But when the second unit came with Lowry, that second unit, you could put down money on it that the first two plays they're calling was a pick and pop for Ibaka, guaranteed. All right, and my point is
sometimes we would spam it. It was that, and even
till someone comes to it, and whoever's on the opposite wing, OG, whoever's knocking down wide open threes. My point is, we don't even try that. So CMB is supposed to be a pretty decent mid-range shooter. Do we even look to try running for that pick and pop? Scotty's a pretty good mid-range shooter. Do we even try that? No, we don't try none of it. So to have this kid here with his skill set coming here, I just don't want him to be in a position where he's like wondering, what do I do? Because we got enough dudes already on this team asking, like, what do I do?
If you had a lot of creators on this team, guys who could break you down off the dribble, his skill set would be just fine because the defense would collapse then, and that you got a kid open who shoots 40% from three, that's what you would want. But he has to go on that kind of team, and the team that also has a coaching staff that emphasizes screen and rolls all day. Because
you know where he would be fantastic? He would be fantastic in Orlando.
They need scoring.
He is they have Jace Richardson though, so the question is
a better option, Jace Richardson, as a pure point guard.
I mean, if you're asking me honestly, yeah, I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
I could see him in Cleveland too as well.
That was the second team I had in my mind, right? Where he's like, when Harden fades away in this case here, right? Whenever that happens to be, wherever millennia that is, but when he fades away, you have a guy who can run pick and roll with Mobley and whomever else. Exactly, right? Like there's probably more teams in the league he fits well with. unfortunately, this is not one of them. I don't think.
On this team, what would be really good is that he would be the only person that would be able to capitalize on the short roll pass opportunities. We don't have that.
Right.
So it could open up Scotty more as a roll man than what we are using him as a roll man right now, or others as well, because he has the ability to make a decent array of passes with a level of consistency and without having to like be overly fancy just to create the advantage. I think that like he would definitely be ahead of Shed. Let's put it that way.
Well, if he's drafted, it's been fun. Right? Because that's all I'm thinking in my head. Like, how is Shed used today? Now he gets a ton of opportunity, but it's not in the most conventional way. At least what the modern.
And he's not. Well, he's not also thriving in those opportunities either.
No. When he does get pick and roll in this case here, he's giving up a low percentage floater.
Yeah, and I've not seen this guy overly reliant on the floater. Coach, you were saying?
No. There's nobody on our team right now that can get their shot off like him. Maybe Ingram is the only one. Shed can.
That's why I like him.
Because he can attack the pick and roll, and then he can pull back and then get his shot off. That's my biggest thing if I'm looking at a guard for this team.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a guard that can really get their shot off. Quickly is good. He's okay at like set shot, or if he has enough space to come off a screen and get a shot. This kid doesn't need much space at all.
No, I respectfully disagree with you too. I don't think he's a guy to get his shot off. But when we get the weaknesses, we'll get to that problem.
I'll put it this way, right? Like I'll compare him to Quickly because that's a good comparison point. Is that Quickly picks up his handle way too quickly. No pun intended.
Yeah.
This guy is a lot more patient with the ball and you wouldn't have to iron that out of his game. And I don't think Darko is the right person to iron that specific skill set out of someone's game. I think he's just like, oh, okay, well, you'll just do catch and shoots. I think he has the skill set to do catch and shoots, but yeah. In terms of getting a shot off, I think the thing is that if he's, say you're pairing him with like a CMB as a role partner and as a screener, I think that he has enough to kind of like get downhill and kind of start working the defense a little bit and kind of like, getting something going. So I think in terms of being good for the overall development of guys and getting guys to place, because we're going to see this more and more. But when Ingram's off the floor, the offense goes downhill. I understand that Scotty is having, a resurgent year, in some ways a career year, definitely off from a defensive end. From a offensive standpoint, he's kind of solidifying what he is for a lot of people. But also, he shot 27% from deep last year. He's shooting 29% from deep this year. I don't think that's going to get a whole heck of a lot better. And efficiency-wise, it's just not really good. Getting Scotty up to say 24 points a night, 23 points a night, is just going to be a slog without having another creator to, again, continue to open things up for him. And
he also doesn't have the skill set to get to 24 to 25 points per game.
Well, that's why you need someone else to do the work for him.
Yeah.
Right? Because if someone else makes if we had KD on the team, right, Scotty would be a much more efficient player because everyone's paying more attention to KD and Brandon Ingram than they are to Scotty Barnes.
Like this kid next to Scotty, that would work for me.
Yeah. Now, are there people in the draft like? Would you rather have a cup for him? Like, I think we all know where we stand.
Well, I've been mulling him over with a couple of guys that came out in the recent years, right? And I've been thinking like Keontae George. Mm-hmm. And I've been thinking of.
Are you talking about a cup or this kid?
No,
Stirtz.
This kid. Yeah, Stirtz, right? Keontae George, who based on where Stirtz is right now, he might get drafted around the same neck of the woods. Mm-hmm. And then the other person who's obviously got moved up late in the draft, but at the time was hovering around this area, maybe 10, 11, 12, 9, was Knipple. Now, in this case here, Knipple has started off with people saying, now one thing I never had any doubt about Knipple was I always thought Knipple could get his shot off because he had the quick release, and both he and George have a bit of, what do you want to call it, a little spice to their offense. They can find ways to get loose. Right?
Spice, I like that.
Yeah, I don't think this dude think we got that in his game, man. It's a little bland. They're just saying it's like I don't think so. To your point, you said the key word. He will need some assistance. Yeah, he ain't putting the paprika in there. He needs some assistance.
I mean, to be fair, I was also talking about Scotty, but yes,
right, well, he needs some seasoning, right? Like,
well, the expectations are different too. A guy, Con getting drafted where he get drafted. This kid, he might go between 20 and 30. He's not gonna,
No, I totally get where you're coming. I guess, Coach, what I'm saying is, to your point, is I think people saw Knipple like that early on in their mindset. How this kid is. So he was drafted. He was always going to be like he was in the teens when he started off. And then when they started getting a closer look at his offense, it's like, oh, no, he's got a little bit more to his offense than what we thought, right? Because then he started kind of rising up the charts. We're like, hey, is this really for real? We doing a draft talk? It's like, Knipple kept coming up. It's like, we do a Knipple show or not? Like, we're like, come on, this can't be for real. And lo and behold, he's the one dude we did not do, ironically.
No, we did not.
Well, guys like him, too. He's been the guy at Drake. And now this year, I know he's at Iowa, and he's the guy there, too. When he gets to the NBA, you ain't the guy anymore.
No.
Now, that might benefit him.
Which, that's my point. It might benefit him, as he's not going to get the defensive coverage that he would get right now in college. I'm watching some highlights right now, and you got 2 or 3 guys chasing him around the court, off the screens, switching, rotating, and he's still either getting his shot off or he's hitting the roll man. Like he's pretty good. That's for sure. But again, it's good to be his defense at the next level. If teams are going to be hesitant at that, and he's going to fall in the draft.
Now, the way that I look at it, right, because the processing speed is good, the craft is decent, the timing's good. How do I put it? Like, for this team, the Raptors, and just teams in general, that need another dude who's not afraid to go get their shot when things slow down. That's where I think he can, it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of figure it out at the next level, with or without pick and roll. Because if it's like, okay, if you need pick and roll, it's not ideal, but hey, he has a way to figure it out, right? And then if he could do the off ball thing, that also helps as well. So yeah, I mean, I can't really rank him because this is the first guard that we're kind of doing, but I find him again. I'm putting my left foot in, putting my left foot out, put my left foot in, and shake it all about, right? I'm not committed. There's other guys that I've kind of taken a sneak peek at that I think might have a higher upside, but I wouldn't be mad if they drafted him.
I'm in the same boat. I have no issue with him if he got drafted. My only concern with him is I hopefully the young man gets an opportunity to actually play his game a little bit, and that's my biggest concern with any of these draft picks. Yeah,
because he's good for like a half, which is what we struggle with, right? We're good at he's good at figuring it out in the half court basically, and that's the type of style of play that he plays. We don't necessarily play that game, and I think some people would argue that that's not really compatible with the modern NBA. Now, I would argue that it is compatible with the modern NBA. It just depends on the team, and I also think that in the modern NBA, you're going to have times in games where it will have to slow down. So, if the catch and shoot is there, I think he can work on that front. In terms of the quote unquote sped up or off ball game. But I think in terms of on ball, he does a lot. It's just would your coach allow him, to your point, to thrive? Coach, any final thoughts? And then beyond, then I think that we've adequately, the defense is not great. So, struggles on ball.
That's a big,
Bobby has drafted 2
guys
past that. Who can't shoot in CMB and Elijah Martin. And to go the other extreme, to go to a guy who really can shoot, but you don't know about his defense, that would be quite something. I just don't. It just seems like this front office philosophy is not going to go to a skill set like him, even though I kind of think you need his skill set. I don't mean so much him, but I think you kind of need that skill set right now because your half-court offense stinks. It's not very good.
So I think it's fair to say, from a negative standpoint, this was hinting at earlier why I disagree with you guys about him being a one-on-one guy, or at least getting his game off a little bit more, is that he lacks the athleticism. And in my mind, this team needs a dose of athleticism in the worst way possible. It needs I'm sorry, any sport you watch, any team sport, heck, any sport, period. Everyone could talk about all this stuff about this, that, and get all the analytics and stuff like that. You know what you need? You need dudes that can make plays when it comes down to it. And guys that make plays usually have very good athleticism where everything's scouted out, but they do something no one else can scout for. And usually you end up the guys with the best athletes tend to be near the end of the season. They're playing June or they're playing at the Super Bowl. It's like it comes down to that a lot of times, man. I'm looking around, it's like the Raptors don't have a lot of high-level athletes that when they get in these series where it's like, oh my gosh, it's like 5 seconds left in the clock, and a guy jumps over 2 dudes for an offensive rebound, right? That's what I'm saying, right? These are the type of things that happen where it's like, how the hell did so-and-so get this ball? Because he just happens to be a better athlete than what you got on the floor. Or a guy hits some incredible shot fading away, and you're like, all you can do is shrug your shoulders.
Yeah, Will can take you very far, but if all things are equal, including Will, athleticism wins out. I think to your point, that guy, before we go to coach, where he will struggle at times is that yes, if you're not really in a pick and roll heavy offense per se, then how is he able to really thrive in the best way possible when things, and he doesn't necessarily have that like super burst. And to be fair, I don't think he doesn't have like Dylan Harper's craft.
No.
He's crafty. He is crafty. He ain't that crafty. That's like, which by the way, just as a side note,
Harper's a better athlete.
Yeah, that too. But just as a side note, I just realized that a cuff is also he's true to his namesake, I'll say.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this last point too, because I hear some people on the spaces that we sometimes go on. We don't have, if this team did not have Brandon Ingram this year, you might have 16 wins. That's because we have he has one skill, or one of his skills is shot making.
Yeah,
right.
Tough shot making.
Makers. So I'm looking for in this draft, and I don't care about positions right now. Last year I kind of wanted someone a little bigger, but fine. I'm okay with CMB. I'm looking for more shot making now. That's what it's not so much whether it's from a guard, a wing, or a big. Give me someone who can give me some shot making for this team, because you lack a lot of it. You take Ingram off the floor, it gets pretty bad.
So I'll just rapid fire some questions because I think we're done with Stirtz. Have you looked at Tyler Tanner at all? What are your thoughts just on him real quick?
Not a lot.
Not a lot either on him, no.
Okay. He's interesting, but it's just like, again, because he has the burst, but the problem is he's 6 feet, maybe.
Yeah.
He's listed at 6 feet kind of a thing. And I'm like, okay, I'll say this. I know we're looking at point guards right now. The Arizona kid, the Braden Burries is also interesting.
Yes.
I think maybe looking for a combo guard isn't the worst, depending on where we're going. Braylon Mullins is another one from UConn. I mean, I think the thing is that there are some guys that are give you that 6'6", but with like some upside. I mean, the way that I look at it right now is that like the perfect person for this team, all respect to CMB, like just everything else, even if you had CMB but you had another pick last year's draft, is you're almost looking for either the right guard, and coach for you it might be Fierce, or for others it might be like a Trey Johnson type.
They're building around him in Memphis as of now. He was my guy.
Yeah. In New Orleans.
Cedric Coward and CMB.
Yes, Coward.
That skill set.
Yeah.
Could use that.
Yeah.
Coach, there's another guy in Memphis that's hanging out there that might have the skill set. Now, I don't know if he still has it, but he might just need to change the scenery. And I like that guy. I didn't like him as our pick. I liked him if we got a second pick, but that would be Gigi Jackson.
I don't know what's going on with Gigi the last year and a half.
Yeah, I think this is Cedric Coward's world at the moment in Memphis.
I think it's up here. This is what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think the point is, like you're making, is like we need, and this is coach's point, is like we need shot making, we need skill set, and we need like higher skill set levels. But my concern is I just don't. This goes back to the coaching and the philosophy. The coach doesn't believe in the ability to break down man one-on-one.
No,
And
he does not like that.
he believes in his philosophy, and that's fine. But I think some hard lessons are going to be learned in about 6 weeks to 8 weeks, because you're going to find out in this case here, like, you could scheme all you like, but when you get the postseason time, your scheming ain't going to save you.
No,
Wayne Casey said that actually one time. He
really.
said teams are outscouted so much. I know everything what the teams are running. So when the Mavericks were going for the championship back in 2011, he said we barely ran anything at all. We just let the guys kind of play because they had like Jason Kidd and stuff like that.
Yeah, kid, Jake Terry had vets all over the place. Yeah,
and Dirk.
That,
So
that,
we're just
that
like,
is
you know
nice
what?
to have.
We're going to try and use our skill sets that we do have and not be so offense democracy reliant on trying to score, which
Yes.
Darko really likes that, and that becomes a problem down the stretch. And in the playoffs, that probably going to be a problem, along with the physicality aspect, which we don't really have.
Now,
outside of maybe Scotty and CMB.
Ironically, I will say this. You could argue that if you had more guys with the skill set to break their man down, that a more of a democratic offense could work.
Yep.
yeah, to some extent, yeah, you can get away with that a bit more,
Right? Because you have more guys where if it does break down, they can at least handle themselves rather than being like, oh, man.
Well, this gets back to Beyond's point earlier. That
Yeah.
takes athleticism.
It does.
It does, and we don't have it. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out in May.
I might have to look at a Baylor guard soon then.
Mr. Carr, maybe.
Mr. Carr. He might be driving a car up north. With that being said, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about?
No, man, I think that's that's good for me, man. So far, I was pleasantly surprised by watch, but from this team's perspective, there's some glaring things on the dashboard that concern me for this team.
Yeah.
Very fair.
I just don't see this front office taking him just based on track record, but I could be wrong. I was wrong about last year about CMB, so could be wrong this year too.
Well, we will see. We will see. With that being said, people, like, comment, subscribe, enjoy Draft Talk, and there will be many more to come. And we will see what happens with Raptors and league-wide. Take care, people, and peace.